welcome back to our channel Immigration Quick Take. We hope you are doing great. Even though there hasn't been any change in the family-based categories, recent changes have shaken things in the immigration world. The employment-based categories haven't changed, but individuals who are seeking employment-based immigrant visas now have an unheard of chance. So in today's video, we will examine the EB2 to EB3 downgrade process to comprehend how it impacts the procedures and expenses associated with processing immigration. So to get all the information, pay attention and watch the video through to the end. Please hit the like, subscribe and don't forget to push the notification bell for upcoming episodes. So without any further delay, let's jump into the video. Let's first discuss what's new in US immigration. Usually the shorter the waiting period, the greater the preference level. But since each nation is unique and densely populated, nations like China in particular have historically seen the greatest wait times for green cards, it's not unusual for an EB3 application to port their green card upward to an EB2 to benefit from the lower wait period. An applicant would obtain an EB3 more quickly than they would an EB2 thanks to the recent adjustment that took place at the beginning of the new fiscal year and shortly after comprehensive immigration law and COVID-19. Due to this, a lot of individuals are curious about receiving an EB2 to EB3 downgrade. Now, when will the EB2 to EB3 downgrade be made available? If an applicant's I-140 for EB2 with their present employment hasn't been accepted and they also have a priority date that is current for EB3, they can downgrade to EB3. Now you can utilize the PERM certificate you obtained for EB2 for your new I-140 petition for EB3. While the entire downgrade procedure will save you time, you should also take into account the increased processing timeframes for your transfer to EB3 since you won't be needed to file a new PERM application. The processing time for your new I-140 will be between 6 and 10 months, while the USCIS waits until they are certain that you have a valid PERM before processing your NUA I-140. While waiting for the EB2 will take considerably longer than the full downgrade process. Additionally, premium processing is offered for downgrading from EB2 to EB3. Although it is entirely up to USCIS discretion, premium processing will generally begin if the USCIS can quickly locate your permanent certificate and your downgrading application is evaluated at the same USCIS service center as your initial permanent application. Now let's examine the key distinction between EB2 and EB3. You need at least a bachelor's degree and 5 years of work experience in your profession to qualify for the EB2 visa. You may also qualify if you have remarkable above-average talent and accomplishment in the arts or business. Now, all you typically need is an employment offer from a US employer to be eligible for an EB3 visa. In every line of business, there are no requirements for having highly specialized and acknowledged talents. However, for skilled professionals, you must have at least 2 years of work experience and a bachelor's degree from a US institution of higher learning that is recognized or an international equivalent. Given the huge amount of highly skilled and educated professionals, any path EB2 or EB3 would be appropriate for them. Given the huge difference in wait periods between the two, it would be worthwhile to drop from EB2 to EB3 to get your visa more quickly. Let's now talk about the process for downgrading from EB2 to EB3 in detail. Here is the complete step-by-step procedure explaining all the necessary documents, the schedule, and potential results, assuming that you continue to work for the same employer that supported your EB2 application in the past. PERM that was previously approved and utilized for EB2, many times permanent labor certification, certified ETA 9089s that have been utilized to assist an EB2 petition can also be used to support an EB3 petition by the same employer and for the same position. Many times, permanent labor certificates that have been used to support an EB2 petition by the same company and for the same position can also be used to support an EB3 petition if they were used to support an I-140 while the ETA 9089 was still in effect under USCIS. Since it is with the same company, there is no need for a new permanent position. Instead, an I-140 petition together with a copy of the previous certified ETA 9089 and documentation that the application beneficiary satisfies the position's minimal qualification as indicated in the certified ETA 9089 must be filed. In addition, the employer must provide documentation demonstrating their capacity to pay the requested salary as of the priority date. The beneficiaries' W-2s and pay stubs, copies of the employer's most recent 2 or 3 federal tax returns, and financial data are also provided to accomplish this. The I-485, I-765 and I-131 applications can be filed concurrently with the I-140 petition requesting the EB3 classification. If the filing date for EB3 is current, since after it is accepted, it will be given the originally priority date of the EB2 I-140. This will allow the applicant and any dependents who meet the requirements to acquire EADs while the I-485 is pending. Concurrent filing is advised because the visa bulletin dates are subject to change at any time. Once a receipt notification for the 140 has been received, you can ask for premium processing since the assist has to get a copy of the original certified ETA 9089 from the previously authorized EB2 I-140. File a few business delays after it starts the premium processing clock. It would take 4 to 5 months to decide on the I-140 downgrading if it rejects the request for a premium. Now, how can a downgrading of a green card from EB2 to EB3 be beneficial? Knowing this, it should be clear that the harder it is to qualify for a certain green card, the fewer applications there will be, resulting in a shorter waiting period because the limit is being surpassed less frequently. In the past, it has been assumed that the EB3 is a more straightforward green card to get than EB2. You just need a work offer from a US business that isn't seasonal or transitory to qualify as an EB3 candidate. However, to be eligible for an EB2, you must have a high level of education or remarkable talent in your area. Consequently, the final action dates for the EB2 have traditionally been more favorable than those for the EB3. In reality, some candidates were able to meet the requirement for an EB2 since the wait for the EB3 was so long. For instance, they may port their petition from an EB3 to an EB2, which would allow them to keep their old priority date rather than establish a new one and expedite the processing of their application. Well, the deadlines for submitting, which are given after the final action dates on the visa bulletin, are where the actual advantage lies. Now, green card applicants may submit their I-485 forms to change their status earlier than their final action dates if their priority date falls before the deadline for filing for their chargeability reason. As a result, the date in the section on filing dates is the priority date for the first applicant who is unable to submit an I-485 at this time. Due to the gap between the EB2 and EB3 filing dates, this is crucial. While the EB3 category has moved forward to January 1st, 2015 and the EB2 category has locked at May 15th, 2011. As a result, candidates who are EB3 will receive their green cards 3.5 years before those who are EB2 do. Due to this, people who are applying for an EB2 may want to think about downgrading from EB2 to EB3 to avoid having to wait many years. Now let's discuss the complexities of EB2 to EB3 downgrade. It is regrettably not as easy as marking a different box to move from one preference level to the next. You could have begin a fresh case from the beginning, going through the PERM labor certification procedure first before submitting a new I-140 petition. However, if the employment criteria, location and salary have not been modified, you may be allowed to use the previous PERM. The only difference is that the priority date from your original petition will be preserved for your current petition. Because this is a completely new situation, you must thus gather the necessary supporting documentation to demonstrate your eligibility for the EB3 just as you did for the EB2. Fortunately, downgrading is simpler than upgrading because people who are eligible for an EB2 are almost certainly eligible for one. Unless you are asking for a national interest waiver with your EB2, all you need is a non-seasonal work with a US business. Therefore, demonstrating your eligibility for an EB3 shouldn't be too tough. The first phase would be to get in touch with your employer and ask them to file another I-140 on your behalf. If a new PERM is required, it will take a few months at the very least. So at the very least, make sure to have the employer designate that you want the original priority date to be retained. The type of green card does not affect the advantages, which might be disastrous if you have previously waited a long time for your EB2. While some green cards are conditional and originally only valid for 2 years, the majority are good of 10 years at a time and just need to renewed, meaning you do not need to re-qualify for that. All green cards, regardless of their criteria, provide the processor with lawful permanent residency. Therefore, upgrading from an EB2 to an EB3 does not deprive you of any benefits related to obtaining a green card that you would have otherwise obtained. This is it for today. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thanks for watching the entire episode. See you then in the next episode. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.